Hey there, welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Jadel Cabrera. So glad that you're joining us for political conversations which I hope will help us build this country even as we're progressing towards this year's polls. Professor Herman Manyora, how are you doing today?
Great.
You're so great today.
Great.
That voice is coming from America, isn't it?
Yeah. Right from America.
Because we have a man from America. Kevin Nyambuka, how are you doing?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Glad to have you back here.
Thank you.
We had this interesting conversation outside there. Now we are in a studio straight from Texas.
It's very hot over there.
Except they didn't bring me a Texas hat.
Ah, you should have. Or some red meat. That's what they eat over there.
Yeah.
But look, our conversation for today is manifestos, cost of living, who has it right. Look, Prof has been telling us this is a global problem. Deputy President Ruto should not say that Uhuru can sort it out. The government, the handshake government cannot sort it out. As much as they can, this is a global problem.
Sure.
Is that true? Has Prof been telling us the truth?
I can't argue with Prof. He knows more than I do. So, more than likely he's right, but probably somehow wrong at the same time.
Okay.
I think most of our problems are easily solved with if we changed a few things in the government. So, for example, if I can, go a step ahead, about the government trying to solve things. Now, we have the three manifestos.
Yeah.
And
actually, four. There's more there.
Oh, sorry for yes.
Yeah.
So we have four of them, and somehow you realize only one of them is telling us how we are going to make money. Others are telling us how we're going to spend money. And now that's where we miss the point. The role of government is to spend money, not to make money.
Oh.
At the moment the government goes into business, the business always fails. Look at Intercontinental, look at Hilton Hotel, they're failing. Kenya Airways is failing anytime the government interrupts business. And so the solution to that will be business being business and government being government. And the reason why I think most of the manifestos are getting it wrong, they are trying to go into business instead of going into government. So the solution could have been, how is this government going to attract business?
Which is this manifesto that you say is showing us how we can make money? Of course, we know Deputy President William Ruto has his bottom-up economy, putting money at the bottom. Hopefully, it'll bring money at the top.
Sure.
Prime Minister Raila Odinga, as the presidential candidate, has his one county, one product, putting counties into manufacturing, helping us bring money. Which is this manifesto? Weed is being promoted by Wajakoya, the professor.
Right.
Which is this manifesto that you say?
Yes, so I think I somehow agree with Wajakoya for most of his ideas, but if I could complete my thought before I lose it. So the argument of the government trying to going into manufacture, government trying to bring industries will fail, guaranteed, on day one.
Why would you say that?
Yes, because I've given an example. Government went into business with the Hilton. Hilton is failing. Intercontinental closed business 2 days ago. Kenya Airways is making losses since 2013. Now the solution, as I was trying to argue, is with government only playing its role by creating a good environment for business to thrive. So what I mean by that is, if government was to lower taxes, that's all I'm calling for government to do, and let business do the business. Government just to do government. But
I think what you're saying is what David Manyora is saying.
Yes.
PAYE, reducing it by 50%.
Yes.
Prof, let me bring you into our conversation. Kevin Nyambuka tells me right now that he's agreeing more with Wajakoya. Tell me, what is the solution to this cost of living when you look at these presidential aspirants, Raila Odinga, David Manyora, Deputy President William Ruto, Wajakoya, the professor, is in the mix. He's saying he's agreeing with Wajakoya. We'll get back to that. But what is the solution for you?
You asked my friend, you told him Manyora says, this is a global problem.
Yeah.
Perhaps he didn't understand your question, or perhaps you didn't put your question well. So that we are speaking from the same script, reading from the same script.
Yeah.
We say mafuta Kenya iko juu. Aseme mafuta Amerika iko mahali ilikuwa.
Yeah.
Ama imeenda juu kuliko wajaona in 41 years.
Yeah.
The cost of petrol in America is the highest it has been in 41 years. And it should tell you roughly by how much. So the point I was trying to make, we are going through a hard time. This is a global thing. But I have also gone further and stated that there is a lot we can do to mitigate the suffering of Kenyans. Despite there being global issues, even the global challenges we face, there are some we can do something about. For example, the cost of fuel is responsible in a large way to the cost of living going up in this country and elsewhere in the world. But even if we don't produce oil, we can go to Iran.
Yeah.
We don't go and get oil from Iran because America tells us not to go because of their politics. We can't go hungry to satisfy American politics. We can get oil from Iran. That is an intervention directly directed at international factors over which we may say we have nothing. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now, Germany is considering ignoring NATO and America for their own survival in terms of gas from Russia. We can do things of that nature. This is time for radical departures. Now, domestically, there are things the government can do. One of them is, like he's saying, to lower taxes. In fact, when I hear government has given subsidy of 16.7 or 8 billion, I'm very annoyed.
Oh.
Why?
Isn't it
What for?
Kenyans?
What for? Just remove taxes and levies. Simple.
Talk to me, Kevin. Prof says maybe I didn't put my question right. Okay. Maybe you didn't get it.
Maybe.
But are things bad everywhere? What's the cost of fuel in Texas, where you come from? I understand you're an engineer, so you know these things. What's the price of fuel there? And should we blame
Not exactly.
Not exactly,
sure.
But should we blame it on President Uhuru Kenyatta? Deputy President William Ruto says, look, it's not that. Don't talk about global. We can do things here.
Yes, just to avoid conflict of interest, I'm a petroleum engineer and I work in the oil field. So I'm happy whenever the oil price is high. So
because you are
I'm not complaining.
Okay, but I think it's that bad.
Yes, I mean the price of gasoline, has been very high. The highest it has ever been in a long time. But to be fair again, the U.S. consumes almost 20 million barrels of oil a day. That's almost 20 times what Kenya consumes on a single day. Okay. So they consume a lot, and now the U.S. is the leading producer of oil. So as much as the cost of fuel is high, they're consuming it, they're producing it, and they're consuming it. So it's not hitting as much as it is in Kenya, because Kenya you still have to import it. But again, to my earlier point, so about lowering taxes, if you allow me to complete it. So, for example, what I could have expected any presidential candidate to be talking about, like Manyora is talking about, is lowering taxes. Yeah. So, a good example, the corporate tax in China is 25%. The US is 21%. Germany is 19%. Dubai is 10%. And Qatar is 9%. Kenya is 30%. Now, that is how you are killing businesses. So, for example, if we were to lower our taxes, we lower our corporate tax, let's say to 15%. Most of these goods were getting made in China. They're actually made by American companies in China. The reason why they're making them in China is because it's cheaper to make them in China. That's the whole point of business, is lower cost of production and selling at a higher price. So if we lower prices, our corporate tax in Kenya, and attract big companies to come into Kenya. For example, Amazon is a $1 trillion company. Apple is a $1 trillion company. So Amazon is in Asia. Amazon is in South America. Amazon is in North America. The next horizon for Amazon is Africa. Now, where will Amazon go to any other African country? Is because of a good environment for doing business. So let's say by miracles or by good government policies, Amazon was to come with Kenya, and we have a big headquarters of Amazon in Kenya. Now, these wonderful goods that are being made in Kenya, like in Karioko, very good pieces of art. We will be selling them to Amazon. Will be selling them, selling them through Amazon, and all those jobs are going to come to Kenya. Now the government will make more money actually from lowering taxes, because you attract more companies to come Kenya, and Apple will start manufacturing the iPads in Kenya. Then the following day, Walmart will see, oh, Amazon is in Kenya. Let's go to Kenya too. Now we have all these businesses coming to Kenya, And now to counter Professor's argument that, you know, this is a global problem. Now let's say, you know, we have attracted all these visitors to come to Kenya. Kenya is making more money, and our cost of living, and you know, will be less painful than it is right now. So my point is, yes, it's a global problem, but we can have a local solution to the global problem.
Prof, he says his local solution, these companies can't come to places like Kenya. What do you think about Raila Odinga saying, now look, we need to develop these things that are coming from abroad? Like Mutumba, he says, we need to build this, we need to build our industries here in Kenya so that we can make our Kenyans employed and not just depend on things from abroad.
I think, and Kelvin again didn't understand perhaps Raila well, and others who talk about industry. They are not talking about government being the one to run the industries. Government is facilitative. You play a facilitative role to support cotton farming, for example, for cotton industry. Then you have policies that encourage manufacturing. Then you have incentives for manufacturing. Then you are lowering cost of electricity, for example. And the government goes easy on levies and licenses and taxation. And there's a whole lot of basket of issues. So government is doing those things so that manufacturing kicks off. It's not government doing it. But again, governments have done and succeeded. Libya, China. Why do you think China is a global power? China went into saving mode when the whole world was shouting and doing all. China was just saving. Why was it saving? It was saving because everything is centralized. It was running all the business, doing all the manufacturing and everything. And then they were saving. And they got to a point now when they have now invaded the world. So governments can in fact do business, successfully so, except in a capitalist system. The players who want to do business with government will always frustrate government doing business. You see, like here we said, let's start national oil company so that it can help us to stabilize the prices of fuel. But you expect the cartels within the oil industry to influence bad policies within National Oil Corporation so that they are at par and they do the same things. They will play games until this National Oil Corporation doesn't do what it was established to do. So it's just like them. So in other words, it is not true that Raila will be advocating for government doing business. It's creating the environment for people to do business.
Engineer Kevin, maybe I can get back to you. Before we started, you told me you support Wajakoya's way.
Yes.
Tell me why. Prof has called it, you said there's this oil curse.
Sure.
Even in countries where there's oil, they're still not developing.
Sure.
Why would you say that Wajakoya has got what's right for Kenya to grow and Kenyans to deal with this high cost of living, as much as statistics and world figures are putting Kenya in a good place when it comes to economy?
Yeah, sure. So a good example is Wajakoya saying that we should somehow suspend the constitution. No, in my case, just to be specific, we should close down the judiciary for a minute. I think the judiciary is the weakest link to our development in this country. So a good example is corruption. So if we know Jadiel stole a laptop, why should you have to go to court? Just come to you. We know you stole the laptop. We just take it from you. So, for example, Uhuru was telling us that we lose 2 billion shillings a day. Yeah. These are 3 trillion shilling budget country, and 1 trillion shillings can't be accounted for according to the Auditor General. Yeah. So we're losing 1 trillion shillings every year. Yeah. But we raised 2 trillion shillings. So basically, we raised 2 trillion shillings, and we steal a trillion from that. We borrow 1 trillion to steal it, actually. So according to Wajakoya, if we start killing these people who are stealing money, we'll be saving 1 trillion shillings, and that solves the problem. So, for example, if we know, Governor Jadiel was, we know they say the NIS knows what you took for dinner last night. So they definitely know who stole the 700 million shillings for NYS1. Okay. They know who stole the 4 billion shillings from KEMSA. Instead of all this nonsense of going to court, just the one.
But isn't that someone's right? And that's why Raila has put Martha Karua there, Minister of Justice. Don't you think this is what is going to change the country once we follow the Constitution and say, we're not just going to do it out of the Constitution?
I saw Martha Karua with the Sonko yesterday. So nothing special with Martha Karua. She's just another human being.
Why would you say that? Do you think Sonko is corrupt or something?
I mean, I think even a dog knows that, you know.
Prof tells me, he says, we need that radical way of doing things. Suspend the Constitution. Wajakoya says we need to hang them. In an interview, said there's somewhere in Taita where you can throw them off a cliff. Is that the way we need to do things?
You know, you are tempted to think that way. When you look at how much theft is going on and how much misery that is bringing to the country, you might be tempted to think like that. I've also thought about in that manner. I've said if I was president, I should be allowed to have a law that can allow me to parade people in Uhuru Park and we shoot them. But as you look at the world changing, then you begin to see that, well, let's say this, the world is moving away from those kind of things. Even the countries that still do execution of people, you know, hanging and so on and so forth, they are being challenged. There's even in America, there's conversation on whether people should get that kind of sentence, and whether they should actually be killed, so to speak. So you wouldn't go in that direction. What I would do if Raila, for example, became president, why can't he just ask me, Manyora, I'm giving you 2 months. I don't need that much time, but let me give extreme 60 days. You are resourced. Create your team, go and sit somewhere. Let's sit with you after 60 days. Show me how it will be difficult for anybody to steal our money in this country. What I give him, you don't even need to kill anybody, because nobody will steal. You can't steal once I prepare.
You've said you'll go to the Indian Ocean.
Indian Ocean, my feet, with the sand going through the toes.
You come up with a plan.
My friend, I give Raila, tell you this, follow it. Not radical, nothing. I just create systems which you can't tamper with. I stop IFMIS, because that's a conduit for stealing. We can pay using other means. We can digitize without IFMIS, that you know, ukora yote. I abolish the procurement department. I was giving a talk, remember when I went to Mombasa last time? People told me, these were accountants. How? I said, what do you mean? You want to buy a pen, it takes you 3 months to go through the procurement processes. Then a pen that will cost 50 shillings ends up costing 3,000 shillings. So what is procurement there for? I just say, okay, you want to buy a vehicle for your department? Yes. Are approvals here? Yes. What vehicle do you want? A Toyota vehicle. Which make of Toyota? TX. Fine. You buy it for your department, for your ministry, for your section. Nobody, just go and buy from Toyota Kenya.
No procurement.
Nothing. Just go and buy. But remember, every item that Toyota Kenya assembled or imported is in our systems, in the tax system. We know what came in, what they paid as duty, and what we expect every time they sell one item of the 20 items they brought. The moment you buy a Toyota TX at 25 million, of the 20 vehicles they brought, which they have been selling at 8 million, first of all, we strike them off the list.
But who will be doing that job? Of course, it's not the
it's a
person
system.
who is in charge.
It is a system. We create a system.
It flags
so
it out.
It just flags it out. Say, the average price of a TX in the past 3 months has been 8 million. How did you go? How the hell did Toyota sell you at 25 million? How?
There's a red flag there.
So Toyota is struck off the list. And you are sacked and jailed.
I'm being told to wind up. Of course, this conversation wasn't
What
planned.
I'm saying is, there is a temptation to feel like you want to kill these people because of what they do. But the answer is not that way. The way to go is to create systems that will make it difficult for anybody to steal from government. But that again will be useless unless you have a man or a woman at the top committed to fighting and ending corruption.
Kevin, engineer, of course, Wajakoya is right now at 4% in the polls. Obviously, it's going to be difficult for him to become the next president. Now we just have to focus on Deputy President William Ruto and Raila Odinga. Who's got it right between the two of them?
Between the two of them, none of them. I mean, a good example, Wajakoya is talking about, the Kenyans in the diaspora. Did you know those people contribute 500 billion shillings every year to this country?
Yeah.
And somehow, we are not looking at them as the resources. We're just looking at them as, people just went out there. So, good example, with the Kenyan embassy in the U.S., in my very honest opinion, it's a very useless entity.
Oh, why so?
Very useless. They are open for 2 days a week, and for those 2 days a week, they are open for 2 hours, and for those 2 hours, they never pick up your phone call. According to Wajakoya, he said that instead of bringing a Kenyan from Kenya to be a U.S. an ambassador for Kenya to the U.S., get a Kenyan living in the U.S. to be an ambassador for Kenya there. Makes perfect sense. A guy that knows the U.S. system and still is a Kenyan. Now, for example, what we should be expecting from this candidates be talking about, especially for the diaspora people. Good example, come to Kenya, realize that Kenya, we have a very good agricultural environment. In the U.S. now, in Texas, one avocado cost 400 shillings. One avocado. In Kisii, the avocado the size of a head of a cow costs 5 shillings. Yeah. What we should be expecting for the Kenyan ambassador to the U.S. to be doing is to be getting all those businesses, come to Kenya, tell us, okay, get these contracts from Walmart, Kroger, and all those grocery stores, and now we source the only reason why those avocados are expensive is because the supply is low. But in Kenya here, you go to Kisii, you'll find 1 million avocados, and cows are eating those avocados, and we're still here complaining that we don't have money. So we should, all these ambassadors who are taking these other countries, they should be people who are smart enough not to be not people who are political rejects. They should be people who live there, who are Kenyans. Get a Kenyan living. For example, Professor Makau Mutua, in my opinion, he could have been a very good ambassador to the U.S. from Kenya. Yeah. So his number one role, be reporting to Parliament every quarter, should be telling us how much more business have you given, have you tracted out for Kenya to that country. So, for example, get all those avocados, supply to the U.S. Canada legalizes weed, and they don't have, and the climate is cold the whole year. Go to Nyeri or Nyamira, plant weed, supply to.
I think he's in America right now, looking at all those.
And the India likes, pili-pili. Yeah. Go plant all that pili-pili, supply to India. We should have these ambassadors. Should be business agents of Kenya to the diaspora. I'll be making more money that way instead of just looking at it. Oh, just an ambassador.
So you're saying neither Ruto nor Raila have what it takes, Prof. As we're winding up, I know we're out of time. We didn't plan to have this conversation, but we are having it, Prof. Neither Ruto nor Raila. Then, in whose hands will we be safe? Because
we can say this, that ideas are around. We can borrow ideas from Wajakoya, from Ruto, from Raila a bit. So, like I've said, really, if you ask me, it's not about the manifestos. We are at a point in our country where you just need to look at the person and ask yourself, between Raila Odinga and William Ruto, who can I trust? That's where we are. It's not the manifesto. The manifestos are talking about the same things, different coloring here and there, the same things. Yeah. Finally, to support him, we need a paradigm shift. This is what I've been singing about, beginning with, for example, like ambassadors. Ambassadors just a political appointments to people who helped you in campaign, people you are rewarding, people you want to remove from the ministry and therefore they need to rest in Spain. We must walk away from that. An ambassador is a person who sells his country abroad, who walks in the foreign country where he's imposted with eyes open, smelling. What can I get from my country? People are doing this thing here. Why can't we do it at home? Hey, this is a wonderful idea. Let me take it home. You get it?
Yeah.
And then these are business opportunities. This is an opportunity for scholarship for our children to come and study in America. Those are the people now Raila or Ruto, whoever wins, must work with. There must be. Jacoy is my friend. He's coming on the show.
Yeah,
Jacoy is coming on the show on Wednesday. He talked to me when he was going to Spain.
Yeah.
From Spain, he goes to America. He went to see a granddaughter, grandson or daughter who was unwell in Spain. Goes to America. He'll be here on Tuesday. Hopefully on Wednesday or Friday, we'll have him on the show. Yeah. But we need a paradigm shift where ambassadors are not people we are rewarding. They are people going to work for us. And that is the way to go in many respects.
Maybe Kevin, final thoughts. Sure. Just final. I'm being told to wind up.
Sure.
Who should we trust?
So, to answer your question more directly, if Ruto really cared about the hustlers, he could be supporting a hustler to be a president, not himself. If Raila wanted a weak person, someone from another community to be president, he could be supporting Matiang'i. So all of them are off for self-interest. I don't think any of them cares about you or me. I think
his is fatalistic. I think all politicians are in this thing for self-interest. But we look at them and say, who can I trust to the extent possible? And I think this election, especially these dying minutes, is just about that. Between Ruto and Raila, who can you trust?
I told you to say in whose hands.
In whose hands are you safe?
Are we safe? And
that's how Raila is going to get away with this thing. Because he looks somebody you can put your trust on.
Okay.
Yes.
Kevin Nyamboka, all the way from the United States. I hope we'll have a part 2, a part 3, a part 4. This has been
back again.
Part 2. You were here before. Tell your friends to come back. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day. Have yourself a lovely rest of your evening.